All right, folks, so we've had a little bit of time with the TU2 trailer at this point, so what we've done already is we did the big, loud, happy reaction type of thing. We did that live. The recording of that, the kind of clipped reaction is up on the main channel, and the full VOD is over on the archive. If you haven't checked out any of that, want to check out any of that, go ahead and do that. At this point, though, we've had a couple of hours to just kind of sit and think, so what we're going to be doing is watching back the trailer and this chunk of the broadcast, and we're going to do the kind of slower, more methodical, we kind of sat with our thoughts for a little bit, and now we're out of the knee-jerk and actually kind of talking about what's going to be in everything and thoughts on it and what things might potentially mean going forwards. If you watched me do the live stream or watched the VOD back, I'm going to be repeating a lot of stuff that I said towards the end of that live stream, but, you know, now it's going to be here and it's going to be a little bit more thought out, and it's going to be just me and not trying to bounce off of another person. So, yeah, we're going to go through this once again.
出します。
はい、モンスターダワイルズアートディレクター藤岡要です。お願いします。
どうぞ。
Alright, so this whole cool thing is just a rip from the Try intro. They knew what they were doing, and it's cute. It's really cute. So they took the Aptonoth and the Jaggy, and they replaced that with the, what is it, the Dalphodon and the Pyragil to replace those, but basically kind of going through the same animations. They'll be doing that with Rathalos and Laggy. It's cute. It's really cute. It's a nice little novelty, and it's just shout out to the original game. They knew how special Laggy coming back was, so they're just going with like the full animation run back. It's awesome. I like it. Yeah, just as it played out. Oh, he looks great. He looks so good. He's beautiful in this game, as you knew he was going to be. But it's just great to finally see him like this. It's been so long. It's been since, like, oh god, Gee was what, 2016? Something like that, in Japan at least. I think it was like, no, it might be like 2017. I think it was like 2018 when it finally came over here. But like 2017 was the last time we saw him, and he hasn't been in the modern era getting like the high poly model. It just looks so good. Yep, exactly how it goes. They give him a proper turf war. Looks like it's probably going to be kind of evenly matched. Fireball right to the head with a no-sell. That's how you make him impressive. You just let him no-sell the other monsters' projectile attacks. They love doing this in the cutscenes, dude. And you do like the slow lumbering back up. And yeah, they're just aura farming. It's fun. Kind of keeping the old roar, but with some changes. So this attack right here, this made me a little scared, like just for a second, because like the last thing I wanted was for Wild's Lagiacrus to be like GU Lagiacrus, which was Try's grounded version of the monster with a bunch of Kezu shocks, and then the first thing they show off of is giant full body AoE. Thankfully, there's a lot more here, but like the very first thing was like big full body shock, and like, oh no, it's not, please don't do the GU Lagiacrus again, and they don't. But that kind of makes the full big body shock more interesting and more special. Kind of funny how that works. Also, the lightning effects are gorgeous. This is making me thinking that he's probably going to be just Scarlet Forest, and only Scarlet Forest. He's going to go into Wyveria like Mizu. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but kind of like the way the electricity is interacting with the water just seems to be so made for this map. Actually, I want to run that back really quick and take a look to see if it's actually like detonating the water kind of like Namiel does. Hard to tell. Alright, now this looks cool. They basically took the underwater corkscrew attack, put it on land, still gave it the electric shock, and then give it a follow-up. Boom. Nice, big, huge horizontal follow-up, too. Now, stuff like this is why I like Arkveld a lot in this game, because you can have a game with focus mode with really rapid camera movement, then you want to have your monsters being able to move around a lot, and one thing they love to do, Rathalos does this quite a bit, and Arkveld does this a ton, and it's what makes Arkveld really cool in this game, is its cross-up follow-up, so he's rushing through you, breaking through your guard or your dodge or whatever, getting to the opposite end, and immediately following up with a direct animation after. afterwards. It works really, really well with focus mode, and it gives the monsters just a lot of mobility and dynamics. I've talked about this to death of like why the strengths that I think that the focus mode has, and this is one of them. This is why I think Arcveld works really good, and seeing Laggy being able to do stuff like that, very encouraging. It's one of those things where like, oh yeah, the developers kind of understand the strengths and abilities of the mechanics that they're giving the hunters, so they're going to give monsters some kind of ability to engage with that mechanic and not just kind of lifelessly kind of slap up against the hunter's new speed and whatnot and just be trounced. You know, they're giving monsters the ability to kind of match that speed, so I like that a lot. This combo in particular, I'm a big fan of just because of the reasons that I like focus mode. Nice and fast, too. Big and fast. Like, one is really, really fast, the other one comes in and the hitbox is enormous. So, again, you know, you have a game full of offsets and perfect guards and stuff like that. That's a tough attack to dodge, so you gotta use your other tools to kind of interact with it. I like it. Okay. That's the crazy part. We'll talk about that when it comes back up. Alright, so now this lovely lady shows up. AT Uthduna, we knew we were going to get her in this update. We're just kind of reading how things go. AT Raidao, probably, he's up there as one of the best fights in the game. Unfortunately, with the way event quests work, he's on rotation and stuff like that, which I don't like, but you know, game will be done and then they'll undo that and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, no, so we're getting AT Uthduna, and I'm kind of encouraged by this. So generally speaking, I think it's the common consensus that she's the weakest of the regional apexes. Still, right now, I don't think she's going to be beating AT Raidao, but I'll talk about why I'm kind of encouraged by what I'm seeing here. Alright, so we'll run that back and we'll kind of go over what I'm talking about here. Okay, so with AT Uthduna, there was a fear that I was seeing with a lot of people online with how Raidao worked, right? Because the big gimmick with Raidao is that he gets like 2 new attacks, yeah, but the big thing is that he's going to get these electrical aftershocks after pretty much any attack having anything to do with his wings, right? And that made for a pretty interesting challenge. But then the question kind of was, okay, is it going to be nothing but like elemental splashes and follow-ups and whatnot for the ATs? Like, is that literally gonna be it? So, you know, the thing with Uthduna is like, oh, she still does her body slams, but now they do 2 waves. Ooh. But with this, there's still waves, but they really kind of lean a little bit more into the physical prowess. So we see 2 new attacks. We see that kind of like sideways belly flop one, and now we have that kind of like lunging charge. We got that, we got the rear upper, that big kind of, yeah. So it's a lot more physicality, and it's a little less kind of heavy gimmick reliance than I kind of thought they were going to do with her. They're just giving her a bigger physical repertoire, and it's more than just big flying body slam, big flying body slam. I mean, the spinning side one still kind of is a flop, but you know, it's definitely faster than all of the other ones. It's a different angle. Her flanks are usually pretty weak, so this gives her coverage on a blind spot. I could see both of these being just moved onto the master rank form of Uthduna when it comes out. So yeah, no, it's nothing like, oh my god, are you seeing these? Like, these are the biggest, coolest spectacle attacks of all time. Like, they kind of did that with Raidao a little bit. But with this, yeah, no, it's fattening up the physical repertoire and adding some stuff that's just a little bit different. It covers some blind spots. It gives her a little bit more movement, maneuverability. I'm sure she's probably going to have a little bit of a speed increase, probably some better combo threading. But yeah, it wasn't just, you know, more element usage. So I'm kind of encouraged by that. Again, is she going to be an S-tier fight? Probably not, but I think this is just gonna kind of like fatten things up, take a little bit of pressure off of the gimmick, and just give her a little bit more defensive tools, a little bit more oppressive tools. I think this is just gonna like fatten her up and round her out more than she already is. Haha. Okay, so this is the collab thing. It's just an emote, and then like the actual collab is that there's a real Rathalos guitar. The Rathalos guitar, kind of cool looking. But it's just an emote. This should have been a hunting horn. I had this thought kind of like while we were doing the breakdown. Why isn't this a hunting horn? I also had a buddy bring this up. It's like, the guitar should just be why isn't this a hunting horn? I don't know. Maybe the company didn't want you like smashing around their new, I don't know, like $2,000 guitar, but like, dude, this should be a weapon. That'd be so cool. Like, that's like an actual guitar I can actually buy, but in the video game, I can smack monsters over the head with it. But yeah, no, this just seems like it's an event quest to get an emote. So that is definitely not half as cool as the Akuma thing. I'm not even gonna, like, I was able to manufacture a video out of the Akuma collaboration. I don't think I'm gonna be getting anything out of this guy. Yeah, whatever. Cool. It looks nice. It sounds nice. It's cool. It's charming. I'll probably use it, and I know that when I'm doing this in multiplayer, there's going to be 14 of you surrounding me playing the guitar. You're going to be really funny about it too, I'm sure. But yeah, this is just whatever. I guess it's kind of cool that there's a variety of emotes. Okay, now the layered weapons are coming in. Layered weapons are coming in? Awesome. And right off the rip, they're like, yeah, the Ardian weapons... You can put better looking stuff on top of those. All right, easy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, this isn't going to make Ardian weapons any less lame. So it's, I don't know, in terms of like the actual Ardian stuff, it's kind of just putting a band-aid on an actual kind of issue with the end game of Wilds. It's nice to get layered weapons. It's definitely nice to get them this early too, because I think even in Sunbreak, they weren't rolling out until like TU1 or TU2 of Sunbreak, not even in the base game of Rise. So we're getting them considerably earlier this time around, which is nice. And it's just going to make fashion hunting even easier, which is nice. But yeah, no, future updates or master rank or whatever, if we can just kind of roll back the Ardian weapons and make just kind of grinding for weapons proper more important, that would be nice. And honestly, the layered weapons do that a little bit, because the way that they're going to work is if you max out a weapon, then you get the layered. So you can't just make it and then you get it. You actually have to go like full the way on the tree. So you got to do a little bit of grinding if you want to get all your layered weapons, which is just going to add a good chunk bit more of hunting. So I'm sure there's going to be individuals who are like, I want to make all the layered weapons, kind of like all the layered armor, which I definitely want to do. I just haven't had free time to play the game. But yeah, no, so that's actually encouraging a little bit more grinding and whatnot. So I appreciate that. That's kind of cool. New dances and whatnot. I like that Dosha mask. And then you got Gemma's jacket, which is kind of like the Carabiner jacket. That's cool. I mean, let's be honest, it is the Carabiner jacket. We know where it is. We know it's from. Looks good. I mean, they even dressed up the male hunter like the Carabiner with the hair. Like, they know what they're doing.
You don't get views like...
And then you can get Eric as your handler, which I don't think many people are gonna do, but like, that's kind of cool. I'm sure if this was World and Iceborne, people would have loved if the serious handler was someone we could take out on a quest. But I mean, I liked Eric in the story. I thought he was a semi-interesting character with a neat little arc to him. So yeah, this is cute. Not gonna engage with it, but like, that's cool.
This sitting around back at base camp.
All right, now it's this part. First of all, they're just doing like the try cut scene when he knocks over the ruin underwater. Love it. Okay. It's not full underwater combat. It wasn't ever going to be full underwater combat. And you kind of look at it for a second like, what the hell? Like, I think anybody, when we were watching the trailer, kind of took us off guard. Is this a tease for future underwater combat? Let's not cope too hard about that. I don't know. I feel like we've been talking about this for a very long time. If it comes back, it comes back. It kind of sounds like they'd like to, though, and this is, like, the closest they've been getting. But yeah, this is kind of neat. It's this kind of isolated underwater segment where you go in after him, and he's shooting lightning balls at him, and you can tether to his head and, like, stab him in the head. You can drop rocks on him. It's not, like, full combat, but it's kind of just, like, a little playable, like, underwater battle cutscene. It's cute. It's really cute. This is something that they didn't have to do. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure, like, you do this for the first time, and that's gonna be, like, wicked cool. Like, oh, damn, I'm down underwater with them. I'm sure on, like, you know, hunt number, like, 5, 6, 7, 8, does it kind of maintain the same fun factor? No, probably not. It's just gonna kind of, like, chop up the fight a little bit. I assume anybody who's speed running is probably going to be able to blitz him before he even gets to be able to do this. We'll have to see about the tempered version though, because the way the tempered monsters work, they're just getting like chalked up with so much health at this point that maybe. So yeah, I could see this being like, it kind of loses its novelty after a little while, but you know, you kind of have the whole, you know, like what this could eventually mean. There's kind of just the novelty of it. There's a little bit of homage of just, you know, Chris, Lord of the Seas, and then you're down there with them. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a little bit of just kind of going the extra mile. They didn't need to do this whatsoever. He would have been perfectly, he looks like he would have been perfectly fine, just kind of as is. But yeah, they just went a little further. They do a little section where a little cinematic section where you dodge lightning balls and grapple to them and drop rocks on them. I like it. I like that a lot. I think that's really, really nice. It's this kind of like little shred of what we've been wanting with Underwater coming back. It's a cool homage to him. It just looks really, I mean, it works so well with him being underwater. It feels right seeing this. So as a kind of compromise, this is really nice. And then he goes back up. I bet you're probably only going to be down here for, I don't know, like 45 seconds or something like that. And then an offset.
Everyone,
so now we're going to the Windward
here.
Plains.
Let's head back home.
And boom, there's guy number 2. We got Soregios. Now, I've been honest with the fact that I've seen leaks and whatnot, so I knew the guy was coming, and I have a pretty good idea of what's coming in TU3. Well, I won't say any names or anything, but we'll kind of talk about it. But yeah, no, I knew this guy was coming. I was excited that this guy was going to be in the game. I like Soregios a lot. I really do. I think he's been great in every game he's been in. Still looks good in this one. Render looks great. Music sounds pretty interesting. We might talk about that like a little bit. I'm sure we'll do it. And when we do like a proper TU2 breakdown a little later on, I'm hoping that this is the game we finally get a Soregios variation, because this is in his 3 previous appearances, you know, if we're counting Frontier, this is the earliest he shows up, because he wasn't in 4 until 4 Ultimate came out, and he wasn't in Rise until Sunbreak came out, and he wasn't in Frontier until like the G era with the exotics and everything. So for comparisons of like the game runtime, this is the earliest Soregios has popped up into a game. So that's kind of interesting. It's just a little bit more time real estate for them to do something with him. I am hoping, fingers crossed, that he might be able to get onto more than one map, because he's never been like exclusively a desert monster, though I think that's kind of like what region he might be native to. I don't know. I'm sure some art book or something has said whatever. But yeah, no, they've kind of treated him predominantly as like a desert monster, which he isn't exclusively. He was a big invader in MH4. I think Monsters Wilds is missing out on invaders. All we really have is Arkveld, which isn't necessarily an invader. He's just a monster who's like trying to find a new niche in the world, which is kind of like an interesting remix on the concept. But you know, Soregios, yeah, he was the whole thing was like the apexes drove the population out and they went all over the continent. I'd like to see that happen again, but I really don't know, because they only show him in the desert, which is, again, makes sense for him. I love the camera angle on the pin. It looks great. Being just how low they put it and the way they angle it to look up at him makes it so much more menacing. And dude's just bobbing and weaving out with Radau. He's just too fast for the lightning bolts. It's kind of cool. Looks gorgeous. And dude, the key art is amazing. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. This shit goes nuts. All right, so it's coming out on Monday. Weird time. I don't know why they're doing Monday. Just, I don't know. They had to get it out for June or something. It's really weird. I mean, if something's not ready, I guess I kind of get it. But they might be like kind of going down to the wire. But I don't know. Maybe just something got crisscrossed internally. Something got pushed to something somewhere. I don't know. Weird that this is coming out on a Monday. But on a Monday, it is arriving. So we'll be streaming that on Monday. That armor looks good. I think that Insect Glaive is brand new, right? I think he has a weapon in every other category minus Insect Glaive. And they give him a pretty, it's not like anything super crazy, but just like a really good looking trident. You know, I've been meaning to get into Insect Glaive in this game. Maybe let's have this be what kind of gets me into it. All right, let's actually get to see him move around a little bit. Oh, the scales rattling around like a giant rattlesnake wyvern. I've always loved it. And just the more high res it is, the better it looks.
なんですけど、法人の時にモーションの子が提案してくれて面白かったのが斜めのキックしながら移動するみたいなアクションがあったんですけども、こう上下左右にステップするモンスター多くても斜め方向
A little bit more air combos with this one, it seems like. A bit better ability to just kind of chain his attacks together. In a couple of places, at least.
なんですけど、法人の時にモーションの子が
That one doesn't really
提案してくれ
follow.
て面白かっ
That one just kind of ends with a taunt.
たのが斜めのキックしながら移動するみたいなアクションがあったんですけ
This one's cool. It just goes into like the full whip.
ども、こう上下左右にステップするモンスター多くても斜め方向にしかも攻撃当たりを出しながらやるモンスターっていうのはあまりいなくて、
Oh, and the pin again looks really cool.
そこの特徴がすごく面白いモンスターだなと思ってました。
Gear looks great. All right, 8-star tempered monsters. That's great right off the rip. And the 8-star tempereds across the board, really, really fun. Nice and heavy, high damage, and just really chunky health bars. Good challenge for the game. Whittles down how effective the focus mode has been, and just kind of given the game that base launch, just given the game the challenge that base launch just didn't have. So I appreciate seeing more like this. I think the 8-star tempereds across the board, giant pain, but also really, really fun, and lets you just kind of enjoy the moveset and the kit and the monster a lot more. So yeah, this makes sense. Glad to see it.
For the second Arch-Tempered monster, we'll have Arch-Tempered Uthduna appear for a limited time.
I am curious how far into the monsters we're going to go with the ATs, because Lunastra and Kolv got ATs. So is Mizu going to get one? Is Laggy going to get one? I don't know. Interesting question.
You'll be able to forge the new armor sets, Uthduna Gamma and Feline Uthduna Gamma.
I am very curious what they're actually going to do with this skill-wise, because Uthduna armor, like the normal stuff, it's pretty. It's kind of useless. That skill bonus is not great, and the skills it comes with are not great. So I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to be able to do with this to make it appealing.
Arch-Tempered Uthduna will arrive in the future as an event quest and free challenge quest.
Yeah, I think the new moves look good. I think this is going to be definitely a step up. It's a new follower. I did actually see that Fabius can be a follower. I think they said that on the website, which we'll take a look at real quick. This lady, who? But, you know, I could take Olivia and Fabius with me now. So, or Fabius, whatever the hell.
By playing with
And we're starting to get some event weapons now.
content added in the update, you'll
some
be
more
able
events.
to obtain a myriad of rewards.
It's good because the event rewards have kind of been pretty lacking so far. So seeing more of them and better of them, that's good. There's been a couple of good armor pieces, or at least good looking. That sword and shield on the bottom right there, that's pretty cool.
ハンマー相殺成功した後に追撃するモーションというのを追加しています。その他
Nice.
もですね、遊びやすくな
Yeah, Hammer's just getting a whole on new attack, which is good. I like Hammer in this game a lot, but it's weird. The main Monster Hunter man is like the biggest Hammer guy in the world, and then Hammer always feels like it's getting, every game. So, I mean, that's good. It's nice. Okay, so Monday comes out, we're getting Laggy, we're getting Seregios, we're getting the layered weapons, and those other features. Cool, so right up at the front. So this one, they're still doing the drip feed stuff, but it is going to be spread out a good ways more. This is, it's a little better and it's a little worse. It's a little better, I would say, like the kind of, the part that kind of softens the blow is that we actually have a much more knowledgeable frame of when TU3 is going to be showing up, so it's going to be right into the end of September. It's going to be a long gap between 2 and 3, unfortunately, you know, going from basically like the start of July until the end of September. So it's going to be, most of July is not going to have a lot of stuff in it. Uthduna will be around for the bulk of the month. Then there'll be the guitar thing, and then, yeah, no, you're basically waiting till the end of September. I'm pretty sure I know what's going to be in TU3. TU3 might be pretty ambitious, so it might be something where, yeah, no, it kind of needs time, which might be something similar with why TU2 took a while. As Legiacris has that whole underwater thing, and there's Soregios that's 2 monsters. We also know that some stuff got back shuffled because of Jindahad issues, and there's some stuff that got shuffled around and pushed around and whatnot, right? So it seems like the spread is widening because they have a much better idea when TU3 is actually going to land, because all we heard about 2 initially was early summer. So I think a lot of us were under the impression that TU2 is dropping early June, not end of June, because of how the spread was working with the stuff from TU1. This time, we know when 3 is coming out. It's end of September, so they're kind of just stretching out everything pretty considerably. So what's going to happen, unfortunately, is that there's going to be a big uptick with TU2, initially with players' retention, and then they'll come back for Uthduna, especially if Uthduna is particularly good, and then it's going to trail out again for the bulk of August, and it's going to go back up for TU3. Spaces between the title updates are definitely making things kind of roller coaster a little bit with the player retention, but I mean, I don't need to play the same game the entire time. I'm happy to just kind of come back and forth between it. That's fine. We can do some other stuff with the Bone Boy streams on Saturdays. But yeah, no, long wait. Definitely longer than the stuff in between Rise, the stuff in between World. I think that's one part ambition of the updates, and I think that's one part engine issues and one part optimization fixes and one part some initial issues with like the game's launch and whatnot. I think it's a mismatch of a couple of different reasons why the title updates are taking longer this time around. It could also be one part of trying to just kind of spread things out a little bit so that the gap between the end of the TUs and the Master Rank expansion out is a little bit shorter than it has been historically. Not entirely sure 1000% what the answer is. I think there's probably a lot of factors why they're being spread out this much, which is a bummer for sure, but I think it's also kind of trackable why things are the way they are. Yeah, all right, so Legiacris is looking really good, I think. Not just one giant pool of shock moves on a very kind of lackluster physical roster, but a lot of new physical moves, some repurposing of underwater stuff, turned into ground moves, again, with some big shocks to give some spectacle on it. Looks really good. Model looks excellent. The music sounds really good. And then, you know, the underwater segment, tad bit of a novelty, probably gonna be a little bit of a pace breaker, but at the same time, it's a really cute nod. It gives Laggy some water mobility that he's been lacking. It's something that they didn't need to do, and it just kind of seems like a fun little mini game. Soregios is also looking good, a little bit more air mobility, really good render. Music sounds kind of interesting. I really want to listen to that one in full because it seems like they changed it up quite a bit. Doesn't sound bad, but definitely sounds like a very interesting reimagining of the piece. Very happy that he's in the game. Very happy that he's in the game early. I'm hoping that they'll just kind of do more with him. He's definitely kind of getting second billing again, but at the same time, like, I'm just happy to see him, and I think he's gonna turn out to be really good. 2 great looking armor sets, new insect glaive to try, which I'm definitely gonna be rocking. I think that's gonna be the weapon to get me on the insect glaive. We didn't talk about it because I think I just blew past it, but the flame fate or whatever for the Festival Accord, that looks really good. I think they are just knocking it out of the park with the festivals for the Grand Hub. Grand Hub is just an awesome gathering place. Blade weapons are gonna be really fun. Great that they're coming in this early compared to the other games. AT Uthduna is definitely looking better, more rounded out physical moveset and not just gimmick oriented. The Fender, whatever, should have been a hunting horn. I'll do it and then probably forget about it. And then, yeah, late September, we'll be back for TU3. I know there's some more stuff on the website with patch notes and whatnot. A lot of that's like weapon oriented and bug fixes and whatnot, and I don't know all the weapons super well to really kind of tell you exactly what's going to be super important, what's not. It's looking like with some of the information that I have on how certain weapons operate optimally and whatnot, it seems like they're kind of balancing out and lowering a couple of like the really powerful options and bolstering a couple of lesser used options. For instance, it's looking like Charge Blade's kind of spinning axe mode is getting nerfed a little bit, and some of its other options are getting fluffed up a little bit. It's looking like Swax is getting some buffs across the board. SNS is getting some buffs across the board, which is cool. So yeah, hopefully they just kind of, it looks like what they're trying to do is they're trying to iron out the balancing of the kit so that you're actually using more of what the weapon has at its disposal just throughout the hunt, and you're not just kind of locking into the same 2 attacks. So if they can narrow that down and kind of iron that out and make the optimal playstyles of the weapons more interesting. That's really, really cool. Hammer's getting basically just a whole new attack, so that's kind of crazy and unprecedented, but yeah, no. And they're also making its offset a lot easier to pull off, which is great for that weapon because it is the wonkiest offset in the game. Looks good. Very long, a little, that's probably the only thing I am disappointed with is how just spread out this thing is. At the same time, though, I'm glad that my expectations of when TU3 are showing up are more realistic than our expectations of TU2, so that softens it a little bit, and I'm not going to be sitting for the entirety of September again being like, when the hell are they going to drop the trailer? Because that's how I felt for June, is I was just waiting for this basically the entire month. Everything's looking like it's going to be really, really good for the most part. Looking forward to it. We'll be streaming this stuff on Monday when it comes out, and until then, let's see. We'll do the regular Bone Boys on Saturday. The second part of the world video should be going up on Sunday. Looking forward to that. Until then, I'll talk to you soon. This has been CR-Volcanic or Connor. I'll see you around. Shout out to all the patrons, and special shout out to Stromlin, Skyryu, Sir Newt Newt, Shaggy Grizzly, Sam Richley, Psychotic Gesture, P-Berry, Nihilist Kymrax, Ketz, Datboy Doin Ding, Certified Rajang Hater, Sir SS Jacob, Pecco Plush, I Think I Stole Your Sandwich, and Call Sign Shadow. Thank you very much, everyone.